in the heart of a forsaken wasteland, where the sun ruled like a merciless tyrant and the earth cracked like broken promises, lay a single seed, no bigger than a teardrop. The land stretched endlessly, a graveyard of dreams where countless others had tried and failed. The skeletons of trees stood like forgotten tombstones, and the wind sang funeral songs for all who had surrendered. This was not a place for hope, not a place for life. Around the tiny seed, thousands of its brothers and sisters had already given up, but this seed was different. Deep within its shell burned something brighter than the desert sun, an unshakable belief that it belonged here, that it carried something precious, even if the world seemed determined to end it before it began. The first enemy was the weight of the world itself. Layers of earth pressed down like 1,000 critics, each grain whispering,
"You not strong enough! Give up before it hurts!"
Then came the rocks, immovable, unforgiving, like locked doors. Each time its root struck stone, it didn't retreat. It searched patiently for cracks, the smallest weakness, and worked its way through. The seed learned that obstacles aren't always walls. Sometimes they're puzzles waiting to be solved. The thirst was the cruelest trial. In this barren land, water was rarer than kindness. Its roots stretched deeper, days passing without a single drop. But whenever it found even the faintest trace of moisture, it celebrated as if it had discovered treasure. Gratitude became its secret strength. On a morning when the wind softened and the sun almost seemed to smile, a fragile green shoot pierced the surface. It trembled in the open air, small as a fingernail, yet magnificently alive. The wind tried to uproot it. The sun burned with fury, offended that something dared to live in its domain. Years passed. What began as a fragile sprout grew taller, stronger, scarred by storms, yet unbroken. And then, 23 years later, travelers crossing the wasteland stopped in astonishment. Before them stood a mighty tree. Its trunk was thick and scarred like a warrior's armor, its branches wide like welcoming arms. Birds built homes in its limbs, animals rested in its shade. Its roots transformed the dead soil into living ground, birthing a sanctuary of green in the desert's heart. And its fruit, sweet, nourishing, life-giving, sustained all who found it. The tree that once fought just to survive was now the source of life for many. People often asked its secret.
How did you grow where nothing else could? How did you turn death into life?
Every ending is only a beginning in disguise. The darkness wasn't punishment, and perfection was never required. All I needed was to refuse surrender and to trust who I was meant to become.
And so the lessons of the seed remain. True transformation begins in the unseen hours, long before the world notices. Growth requires roots before height, depth before glory. Adversity is not the enemy. It is the very force that shapes us. Persistence, small and steady, is more powerful than any sudden leap. Gratitude turns scarcity into abundance and struggle into strength. And perhaps the greatest lesson of all, what began as a desperate fight for survival can one day become the source of life for others.